23 Unsolved Mysteries. What if humanity's most astonishing mysteries are found not in science fiction films or on the pages of novels, but in the real world? We are used to thinking that modern science already has answers to almost every question. Humans have landed on the moon. Telescopes can see galaxies billions of light years away. Computers perform in seconds calculations that once took years. Yet despite all these achievements, there are still mysteries that leave scientists at a loss. We do not know what most of the universe is made of. We cannot fully explain the origin of life. We do not understand what happens inside black holes. And some historical mysteries remain unsolved after hundreds or even thousands of years. Today we are setting out on a journey through 23 of the most intriguing mysteries in our world. Each is based on real facts. Each gives us something to think about. And each reminds us just how astonishing our universe remains. So make yourself comfortable. Let us begin. What lies at the center of the Earth? Imagine an astonishing situation. Humans have sent spacecraft far beyond the solar system, yet no one has ever seen the center of our own planet. It sounds incredible, but it is true. The deepest borehole ever drilled by humankind is the Kola super-deep borehole in Russia. It reached a depth of just over 12 kilometers. Is that a lot or a little? Compared with Earth's radius of more than 6,000 kilometers, it is like barely scratching the skin of a huge apple. Everything we know about the planet's inner layers comes not from direct observation, but from indirect evidence. Scientists study how seismic waves from earthquakes travel through Earth. By observing how the waves change speed and direction, researchers try to understand the structure beneath our feet. According to the current model, Earth contains a solid inner core made of iron and nickel, surrounded by a liquid outer core. Temperatures there may reach 5,000 or 6,000 degrees Celsius, roughly as hot as the surface of the sun. But recent studies have revealed something strange. The inner core does not appear to rotate in perfect sync with the rest of the planet. Some evidence even suggests that its rate of rotation changes over time. Why does this happen? There is no definite answer. Scientists also continue to debate the structure of the core itself. Some believe it is relatively uniform. Others think it contains additional complex layers. This leaves us with a remarkable paradox. We can study the surface of Mars with incredible precision, while the depths of Earth still conceal countless secrets. Perhaps some of our greatest discoveries await us not in space, but directly beneath our feet. Yet if Earth's interior remains a mystery, the next enigma stretches across the entire universe. The mystery of dark matter. Take a careful look around you. A table, a chair, a phone, the air, your body, the stars, planets, and galaxies. It seems that these things make up the universe. But scientists tell us that everything we can see accounts for only about 5% of reality. The other 95% is almost entirely unknown to us. The largest part of this mysterious component is what we call dark matter. The story began almost a century ago when astronomers noticed something odd. Galaxies were rotating too quickly. According to the laws of physics, many of them should literally have flown apart. But they did not. Something unseen and extremely massive was holding them together. This is how the idea of dark matter arose. We cannot see it. It emits no light, reflects no light, and barely interacts with ordinary matter. Yet its gravity affects the motion of stars and galaxies. Today, enormous underground laboratories house ultra-sensitive detectors. Researchers hope to catch even a single particle of dark matter, but so far they have had no success. Every new experiment brings new questions. What if our understanding of gravity itself is wrong? What if dark matter does not exist in the form we imagine? For now, there is no answer. That is why dark matter is considered one of the greatest mysteries in modern science. We live inside something that makes up most of the universe, yet we do not know what it is. And while this mystery belongs to the cosmos, the next concerns one of history's most famous lost civilizations. What happened to the Maya civilization? The dense jungles of Central America hide ancient cities. enormous pyramids, palaces, temples, and plazas. By the time Europeans first learned of the Maya, many of these structures had already been abandoned. That gave rise to a question that still troubles historians. What happened to this civilization? The Maya were outstanding astronomers. They developed complex calendars, built great cities, and advanced mathematics and writing. By the 8th century CE, their civilization was flourishing. Then, something strange happened. Many major cities began to empty. Construction stopped. New monuments were no longer raised. The population fell sharply. For a long time, theories ranged from war and epidemics to invasion and catastrophe. Today, scientists consider a combination of causes most likely. Studies of ancient sediments point to a series of severe droughts. At the same time, the population was growing, warfare between city-states was intensifying, and the whole system had become too complex and vulnerable. But the mystery is not completely solved. Why did some cities disappear entirely while others survived? Why did the collapse happen when it did? Which events became the final straw? The answers remain hidden among the ancient ruins. Some mysteries, however, concern not Earth's past, but the possibility of life beyond it. The wow signal. August 15th, 1977. It was an ordinary night at a radio observatory in Ohio. Astronomer Jerry Eman was reviewing observation data when an unusual signal caught his eye. It was so strange and powerful that he circled the reading in red ink and wrote a single word beside it. Wow. That is how the signal received its famous name. It lasted about 72 seconds, came from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, and had extremely unusual characteristics. The central mystery is that it was never detected again. For decades, astronomers repeatedly tried to find it, without success. What was it? A natural cosmic phenomenon? A rare coincidence? A technical error? Or a signal of artificial origin? Most scientists favor natural explanations, yet no theory has definitively closed the case. The wow signal remains one of the best-known unexplained events in the history of astronomy. It reminds us how vast space is and how little we know about it. But the next location on our map of mysteries is not in space at all. It is right here on Earth, and almost everyone has heard of it. The mystery of the Bermuda Triangle. When people hear the words Bermuda Triangle, many immediately picture mysterious disappearances of ships and aircraft. But what is true, and what is myth? The Bermuda Triangle is an informal region of the Atlantic Ocean between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. During the 20th century, journalists began collecting stories of mysterious incidents in the area. The most famous was the disappearance of a group of American military aircraft in 1945. After that, the legend grew rapidly. Stories appeared about magnetic anomalies, portals to other dimensions, and even alien intervention. Yet when scientists examined the statistics closely, they found something interesting. The number of incidents in this region is not dramatically different from that on other busy sea routes. Even so, certain questions remain. Why did some disasters occur in good weather? Why did some pilots' messages sound so unusual? The most likely explanation is a combination of factors: difficult weather, sudden storms, powerful currents, human error, and the limitations of navigation in earlier decades. Despite these rational explanations, the Bermuda Triangle continues to stir the imagination, perhaps because we like to believe that places capable of surprising us still remain on the world map. The next mystery goes much deeper, because it concerns the greatest question in human history. How did life appear at all? Why did life appear at all? Picture Earth about 4 billion years ago. No forests, no animals, no people, only blazing volcanoes, endless oceans, and an atmosphere completely unfit to breathe. It was an alien world, and it was here that an event occurred that changed the planet forever. Life appeared. But how? The question sounds simple, yet it is one of science's hardest mysteries. Scientists understand a great deal about how living organisms develop today. We know how heredity works and how evolution occurs. But there is an enormous gap between non-living chemistry and the first living cell. At some point in the ancient ocean, ordinary molecules somehow began joining into more complex structures. Then came the ability to copy themselves. From there began the long road toward bacteria, plants, animals, and human beings. The exact sequence of events remains unknown. Several scientific hypotheses exist. Some researchers think life began in warm, shallow pools. Others believe hot hydrothermal vents on the ocean floor played the decisive role. Another idea suggests that meteorites may have delivered important organic substances to Earth. Intriguingly, many of life's building blocks really have been found in space. But even if that is true, a new question appears. Where did life itself begin? On Earth or somewhere else? Scientists are actively recreating the conditions of early Earth in laboratories. Experiments show that important organic compounds can form naturally, yet the path from simple molecules to a living cell remains mysterious. Perhaps the answer is close. Perhaps it will take many more decades of research. And if the origin of life is a mystery, the next story concerns people who seemed to vanish without a trace. The disappearance of the Roanoke colony. At the end of the 16th century, England was trying to establish a foothold in North America. The first settlers arrived on Roanoke Island, built homes, founded a settlement, and began a new life. Then something strange happened. The colony's governor, John White, sailed to England for supplies. War with Spain delayed his return for almost 3 years. When he finally reached Roanoke again, he found an eerie scene. The settlement was empty. There were no people, almost no houses, no signs of a struggle, and no bodies. The colonists had disappeared. The only clue was the word Croatoan, carved into a wooden post, the name of a neighboring island and a local indigenous group. What happened? Were the settlers killed? Did they starve? Or did they relocate voluntarily and become part of the local population? Most modern historians favor the last explanation. Archaeological finds show that some English objects did indeed end up among local communities, but conclusive proof is still lacking. Roanoke remains the first great mystery of English colonization in America. More than 400 years later, no one can say with certainty what became of those people. If the disappearance of several hundred people seems mysterious, the next enigma can be seen even from space. Who created the Nazca Lines? Southern Peru is home to one of the most astonishing places on Earth. From above, giant images appear: spiders, monkeys, birds, geometric shapes, and straight lines several kilometers long. These drawings are known as the Nazca Lines. The most remarkable thing is that most cannot be seen in full from the ground. A high vantage point is needed. When Europeans first learned of them, extraordinary theories emerged. Some called them landing strips for aliens. Others proposed unknown ancient technologies. Reality proved even more interesting. Scientists now believe the lines were made by the Nazca people about 2,000 years ago. They simply removed the upper layer of dark stones to reveal the lighter ground beneath, creating enormous images. But the main question remains: why? Perhaps the drawings were connected with religious rites or formed parts of ceremonial routes. Some researchers link them with observations of the sky and the changing seasons. The problem is that no single theory explains every line. Their true purpose, therefore, remains an open mystery, while the next secret lies beneath kilometers of ice in the coldest place on Earth. What is Antarctica hiding? Antarctica is Earth's most mysterious continent. Almost all of it is covered by ice, which in places is several kilometers thick. If all that ice melted, global sea levels would rise by roughly 60 meters. But the most fascinating things are hidden underneath. Modern radar can effectively see through the ice, and the results are astonishing. Beneath Antarctica lie entire mountain ranges, ancient valleys, huge lakes, rivers, and even remnants of landscapes that disappeared long ago. One of the best known is Lake Vostok, buried beneath more than 4 kilometers of ice. Its water has been isolated from the outside world for millions of years, and scientists believe it may contain unique microorganisms. But studying such places is extremely difficult. Every expedition requires immense effort, and drilling must be done with extraordinary care to avoid contaminating the ancient ecosystem. Scientists receive new data every year, yet enormous areas of the continent remain virtually unexplored. Who knows what discoveries await beneath that icy shield? The next mystery, however, comes not from Earth's depths, but from deep space. The mystery of fast radio bursts. In 2007, astronomers found something unusual, very unusual. An incredibly powerful radio signal arrived from distant space. It lasted less than a second, yet in that instant released as much energy as the sun produces over several days. At first, scientists thought it was an error. Then the signals appeared again and again. This was the discovery of fast radio bursts. Thousands of such events have now been recorded. Some occur only once, others repeat. Yet the origin of most remains unknown. Researchers suspect that some sources may be neutron stars with exceptionally powerful magnetic fields, known as magnetars. But not every observation fits that model. Some signals behave too strangely. Some come from unusual regions of space, and some are so powerful that they force scientists to reconsider existing theories. From time to time, people suggest an artificial origin, but there is currently no evidence for that. The mystery remains: what can create such tremendous flashes of energy? There is no final answer yet. Still more astonishing mysteries lie ahead. A woman who dreamed of flying around the world and vanished over the ocean, a lost branch of humanity, and the baffling question of what happens inside black holes. The most fascinating part is only beginning. What happened to Amelia Earhart? In the first half of the 20th century, millions knew the name Amelia Earhart. She became a symbol of courage, determination, and the pursuit of the impossible. In 1932, she became the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. Yet her final flight became one of aviation's greatest mysteries. In the summer of 1937, Earhart and her navigator, Fred Noonan, attempted to fly around the world. Most of the route was behind them. One of the hardest stages remained, crossing the Pacific. On July 2nd, their aircraft took off toward tiny Howland Island, but it never arrived. Their last radio messages were alarming. They said they could not find the island. Then contact was lost. A massive search began. Warships covered huge areas of ocean, and aircraft combed the skies, but found no trace, no wreckage, no reliable evidence, nothing. Many theories have appeared over the decades. The most common holds that the plane simply crashed into the ocean after running out of fuel. Another suggests Earhart made an emergency landing on an uninhabited island. Some finds on Nikumaroro Island have been offered in support, but conclusive evidence is still absent. Almost 90 years have passed. Technology has changed, and satellites photograph Earth in incredible detail, yet the fate of one of the world's most famous aviators remains unknown. The next mystery concerns a substance without which humans, animals, and plants could not exist: water. Where did Earth's water come from? Look at a globe. Most of its surface is blue. Oceans cover more than 70% of the planet. But where did all that water come from? When Earth first formed, its surface was a blazing world. Temperatures were so high that liquid water could not exist. Yet a few 100 million years later, the planet already had oceans. How did that happen? There are several main hypotheses. The first says that water was present in the material from which Earth formed and was gradually released through volcanic activity as the planet cooled. Another theory proposes that asteroids and comets delivered a significant portion. Billions of years ago, they constantly bombarded the young Earth, and may have brought enormous stores of ice. Modern research suggests the truth may lie somewhere in between. Some water was probably built into the planet from the beginning, while some genuinely arrived from space. Scientists still debate which source played the larger role. The situation is remarkable. We are made of water and depend on it every second of our lives, yet the origin of much of it remains a mystery. The next mystery involves beings so similar to us that traces of them remain in our genes. Why did the Neanderthals disappear? Around 40,000 years ago, modern humans were not the only people walking the earth. Neanderthals lived alongside our ancestors. For a long time, they were portrayed as primitive savages, but modern discoveries have completely changed that image. Neanderthals made sophisticated tools, cared for the sick, hunted in groups, used fire, created ornaments, and may even have had a culture and symbolic thought of their own. They were extremely similar to us, so similar that members of the two populations sometimes had children together. Many people today carry a small amount of Neanderthal DNA. If they were so successful, why did they disappear? It is one of anthropology's hardest questions. Perhaps the climate changed rapidly. Perhaps Neanderthals lost the competition for resources. Some scientists think their population was simply too small. Another idea holds that many did not vanish completely, but were absorbed into the ancestors of modern people. Several factors probably acted together, but the exact answer remains unknown. That makes the Neanderthal story especially mysterious, because they were not merely an extinct human group. They were our closest relatives. The next mystery is so distant that even the most powerful telescopes cannot see it directly. We can observe only its effects. The mystery of the Great Attractor. Our planet orbits the Sun. The Sun moves through the galaxy travels through space. But what if all this motion is being directed by something enormous and unseen? In the 1970s, astronomers noticed something strange. Our galaxy and thousands of neighboring galaxies are moving in the same direction at speeds of millions of kilometers per hour. What is pulling them? This led scientists to the idea of the Great Attractor, an informal name for a gigantic region of space with colossal mass. The problem is that it is extremely difficult to observe. It lies behind a dense area of our own galaxy, so crowded with stars and dust that it hides objects farther away. For decades, researchers have gradually assembled evidence. Today, enormous galaxy clusters and vast structures in the universe are thought to account for the mysterious pull. Many details remain unknown. How large is the Great Attractor? What is its exact mass? Is it part of an even greater structure? We still do not know. Even the motion of our galaxy is determined by forces we do not yet fully understand. The next mystery is much closer to Earth. You can hold it in your hands, although no one has yet managed to read it. The Voynich manuscript. In 1912, rare book dealer Wilfrid Voynich acquired an ancient manuscript. At first glance, the book looked unusual, but not impossibly so. The more closely scholars studied it, however, the more mysterious it became. It contained hundreds of pages of text. The problem was that the text was written in an unknown language, or an unknown cipher, or perhaps something entirely different. No one knows. The manuscript contains many illustrations, strange plants, unusual astronomical diagrams, unfamiliar symbols, and mysterious human figures. Over the past century, some of the world's finest cryptographers have tried to decode it, including experts who successfully broke secret codes during wartime. Yet the Voynich manuscript has not surrendered its secrets. Some scholars believe it is encrypted text. Others suggest an unknown language. There is even a theory that the book is an elaborate hoax. Statistical analysis, however, shows that its text has a structure characteristic of real languages. If it is a fake, it is an extraordinarily sophisticated one. Today, the manuscript is kept at Yale University's library and continues to attract researchers from around the world. Every year brings new attempts at decipherment, Every year, someone announces a breakthrough, and every time, the mystery remains unsolved. Perhaps the answer has been in front of humanity for centuries, and we simply do not yet know how to see it. The mysteries ahead are even more astonishing. Why do we dream? Who were the enigmatic Denisovans? What happens inside black holes? Does ball lightning exist? And why are scientists increasingly concerned about the mysterious decline of insects around the world? Why do we dream? Every night something astonishing happens. You close your eyes, fall asleep, and after a while find yourself in a completely different world. Sometimes you fly over cities. Sometimes you speak with people you have not seen for years. Sometimes you experience events that never happened in reality. These are dreams. Everyone dreams regularly, even if they do not always remember upon waking. Yet, despite thousands of studies, scientists still do not know exactly why dreams are needed. Throughout history, people have offered many explanations. Ancient civilizations saw dreams as messages from the gods. Some cultures regarded them as journeys of the soul. Modern science proposes more grounded ideas. One popular hypothesis says that while we sleep, the brain sorts and processes information gathered during the day. Imagine a huge library receiving thousands of new books every day. To prevent chaos, the books must be placed on the right shelves. Perhaps the sleeping brain is doing something similar. Another theory suggests dreams help us rehearse responses to dangerous situations. A third connects them with strengthening memory and learning. But no hypothesis explains every feature of dreaming. Why are some dreams so realistic? Why do the same themes recur for millions of people? Why do ideas sometimes arise in dreams that a person could not reach while awake? Some scientific discoveries and works of art were inspired by dreams, yet the mechanism that creates them remains one of the most mysterious features of the human brain. And if the mysteries of consciousness seem difficult, the next concerns a human population whose very existence came as a surprise to science. The mystery of the Denisovans. In 2008, archaeologists found a small bone fragment in Denisova Cave in the Altai Mountains. There seemed to be nothing unusual about it. Such finds are common. But when scientists analyzed its DNA, the results shocked the scientific world. The bone belonged to a previously unknown population of ancient humans, not Neanderthals and not modern humans, but a separate branch of humanity. This is how the world learned about the Denisovans. Most remarkably, we still know very little about them. Scientists have found only a few bones and teeth, a handful of fragments and traces. Yet even this was enough to transform our understanding of human evolution. Denisovans lived across vast regions of Asia and interbred with our ancestors. Some modern peoples still carry Denisovan DNA, especially populations in Oceania and parts of Asia. But who were they? What did they look like? What language did they speak? What kind of culture did they create? We have almost no answers. Only recently, we did not even suspect they existed. Now we know they played an important role in human history, yet their lives remain shrouded in mystery. The next enigma lies somewhere so distant and extreme that our known laws of physics cease to work. What is inside black holes? Black holes are among the strangest objects in the universe. They are so massive that their gravity prevents even light from escaping. We therefore cannot see them directly, only their effect on the space around them. For a long time, black holes existed only in physicists' calculations. Today, observations have confirmed them, and we have even produced images of the regions surrounding some of them. But the main question remains, what is inside? According to current theory, a black hole should contain a singularity at its center, a point of infinite density. The problem is that physics does not handle infinities well, which means our theories are incomplete. Some scientists suggest that unknown quantum processes may occur inside. Others think black holes may connect with wormholes, hypothetical tunnels through space-time. There are even ideas about entirely new regions of reality. For now, these are only hypotheses, and are extraordinarily hard to test because no information can escape beyond the event horizon, at least according to our present understanding of physics. Black holes are like enormous cosmic safes. We know something is inside, but we cannot open the door. Perhaps they conceal answers to the most fundamental questions about the structure of the universe. The next mystery appears not in space, but in Earth's atmosphere. The mystery of ball lightning. Imagine a powerful thunderstorm. Lightning lights the sky, and thunder crashes. Suddenly, a glowing sphere appears in front of you. It floats slowly through the air, may enter a room through a window or doorway, sometimes hovers in place and then vanishes without a trace, or explodes. This is how thousands of people have described ball lightning. For centuries, many scientists treated such stories with skepticism because they sounded too strange. But there were simply too many accounts reported by different people in different countries and at different times. Today, most researchers accept that ball lightning probably does exist, yet no one has fully explained its nature. The main difficulty is that the phenomenon is extremely rare and unpredictable, making it hard to study in a laboratory. Various models have appeared in recent years. Some connect ball lightning with plasma. Others propose unusual chemical processes in the atmosphere. No theory has been conclusively proven. Ball lightning, therefore, remains one of nature's most mysterious phenomena, reminding us that even Earth's familiar atmosphere contains processes science does not fully understand. The next mystery may be far more important for humanity's future because it concerns life across the entire planet. Where are the insects going? If you were asked to name the most numerous animals on Earth, you would probably choose insects, and you would be right. Their numbers are astronomical. They pollinate plants, help break down organic matter, and provide food for countless other species. In fact, much of the planet's ecosystems depends on them. Yet in recent decades, scientists have observed a troubling trend. In many regions, insect numbers are falling, sometimes very rapidly. Studies in Europe, North America, and other parts of the world show significant declines in certain species. Why is this happening? There is no single answer. The cause is most likely a combination of climate change, pesticide use, habitat destruction, light pollution, and the spread of disease. The problem is so complex that scientists cannot yet determine the precise contribution of each factor. The consequences could be serious. Fewer insects mean less pollination, less food for birds and other animals, and changes to entire ecosystems. Fortunately, not every species is threatened, but the overall trend deeply concerns biologists. This is one mystery we urgently need to solve, because the future of many of Earth's natural systems may depend on the answer. We are now approaching the grandest mysteries in the universe. In the final part, we will ask whether the enigmatic Planet 9 exists, why consciousness exists at all, and the ultimate question humanity has pondered for thousands of years. What came before the Big Bang? Does Planet 9 exist? For many years, school children learned that the solar system had 9 planets. Then, in 2006, an event sparked fierce debate among astronomers. Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet. Officially, 8 planets remained. The story seemed over. A few years later, however, scientists encountered a new mystery. Small objects were discovered in the most distant reaches of the solar system, and their orbits looked extremely unusual, as if they were being influenced by a large, invisible body. In 2016, astronomers proposed a bold hypothesis. Another planet may be hiding far beyond Neptune. It could be very massive, perhaps 5 to 10 times as massive as Earth, and so distant that it is extraordinarily difficult to see. The search has continued ever since. Scientists are not searching at random. They study the movements of other objects and try to calculate where the mysterious world might be. But the evidence is still insufficient. There is another explanation. The strange orbits may be caused not by one large planet, but by the combined effects of many small objects. Some researchers believe Planet 9 does not exist at all. That is why the question remains open. If it is found, it will be one of the greatest astronomical discoveries of the 21st century. Imagine, an entire planet may be hiding in our own solar system, unseen by humanity. The next mystery is much closer. It lies inside each of us and may be the hardest of all. Why does consciousness exist? Right now you are hearing this story. You understand the words, picture images, think, and feel. All of this seems perfectly natural. But stop and consider. Why does a subjective experience of the world exist at all? Why does a collection of nerve cells inside the skull do more than process information? Why does it create an inner experience? This is one of the deepest mysteries in science and philosophy. We know a great deal about the brain. Scientists can observe the activity of particular regions, understand the roles of different neural networks, and study the mechanisms of memory, attention, and emotion. But a problem remains. Even if we describe every process in the brain, we can still ask, why is this activity accompanied by conscious experience? Why is there a sensation of color, pain, music, love, or fear? Some researchers think consciousness results from extremely complex information processing. Others propose more fundamental principles of nature. Some theories even suggest that elements of consciousness may exist in much simpler systems. No hypothesis has yet been definitively confirmed. This makes the mystery of consciousness unique. Unlike most scientific questions, the object being studied is also the investigator. We are trying to understand ourselves. Perhaps science will find the answer one day. Today, consciousness remains one of humanity's greatest unsolved mysteries. And now we have reached the final mystery, a question that takes us beyond space, time, and our familiar understanding of reality. What came before the Big Bang? About 13.8 billion years ago, an event occurred that changed everything. The history of the universe as we know it began. We call this event the Big Bang. It is important to understand that the Big Bang was not an explosion in the ordinary sense. It was the rapid expansion of space itself. Over time, stars, galaxies, planets, and eventually life emerged. But a question appears almost immediately. What came before it? Here begins one of modern science's hardest mysteries. According to classical cosmology, time and space began together with the Big Bang. If so, the question, what came before, may have no meaning, because the very concept of before did not yet exist. There are other ideas. Some models suggest that our universe arose from an earlier state. Others describe a cyclic universe that passes endlessly through phases of expansion and contraction. There are hypotheses about multiple universes, quantum processes, and unknown forms of reality. The problem is that most of these ideas are extraordinarily difficult to test. We can observe the consequences of the universe's earliest stages, but not the moment of its birth. The question therefore remains open, and perhaps it is the greatest mystery of all, because it concerns the origin not only of humanity, Earth, or the stars, but of reality itself. We began this journey with mysteries hidden deep beneath Earth's surface. Then we traveled through ancient civilizations, explored the oceans, considered unexplained natural phenomena, and looked into the farthest reaches of space. In the end, we encountered questions that still have no answer. What lies at the center of our planet? What is most of the universe made of? Why did life appear? What happens inside black holes? Does Planet 9 exist? What is consciousness? And what existed before the birth of time itself? Every one of these mysteries reminds us of something important. Despite science's astonishing achievements, humanity is still at the beginning of its journey. We know far more than our ancestors did, yet we also understand how vast the unknown remains. That is what makes the world so exciting. Every mystery is not a dead end, but a door to new discoveries, new ideas, and new questions. Perhaps somewhere in a laboratory right now, a young scientist is working on one of these mysteries. Perhaps the next great discovery will happen tomorrow. Or perhaps some mysteries will remain with humanity forever. That too is wonderful, because as long as mysteries exist, so does our desire to solve them. And so the most astonishing adventure in human history continues: the search for knowledge. If you enjoyed this journey through the greatest mysteries of our world, tell us in the comments, which of these 23 mysteries surprised you most? Leave a like if you would like to see more collections of incredible mysteries, scientific discoveries, and astonishing facts about our universe. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss new videos. Thank you for watching, and remember, the more we learn about the world, the more astonishing it becomes.